Hi, I want to talk about impossible sex fantasies making it so men and women don't pair up, which is part of the divide and conquer strategy. Well, everything I talk about is going to be divide and conquer strategy. But I also want to talk about outsourcing by bringing people into the country with exclusive deals to pay them less than American minimum wage. And then it also helps for globalization, communism, martialism, socialism. The next thing you know, we're all eating the bugs and we're living under Israel's new form of Sharia law by radicalizing Christianity and Islam together just to take away basic human rights and civil liberties and making things even way worse for women. And then, so making things worse for women. In 2025, I saw several BookTok videos, and every now and then somebody comes out with a woman's BookTok video talking about, look at all the dirty books they read. I saw Papa Me, I think he did several videos on women's lewd and lascivious books. I know I have an episode on this, but I don't know when that comes out because I have videos loaded into March of 2025. So it's 3 a week, and now that I have 3 a week into March, sometimes I'll just fill, if I have a new video, I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to talk about the Riyadh Comedy Festival again. So I just throw that one in, and then there's a video on Tuesday when my schedule has been Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and that's it. So I don't know when you're going to see this one, but people keep doing the BookTok videos. The most recent one I saw was Shoe on Head, and she was talking about, is it Shoe on Head Boxy? Is that the same person? She grew up and turned into Boxy. Is that the same girl? Do you remember Boxy? You shouldn't. So it was why everyone has the same makeup now. All girls have that same makeup where they make their eyes seem bigger by painting black in the corner of their eyes. So, should I just tell you they dated several hairdressers and I paint portraits so I pay attention to what people look like? And I don't really know about makeup. I know about hairdressers and they're sluts and they're really great in a sack. That's not what this episode's supposed to be about. So, I'm telling you, they say teachers make you do it over and over again to get it right. Hairdressers know about sex. And I've even liked a hairdresser or two that didn't even like me back. So, is it a fetish? No, I don't have a fetish. I have a monogamy, intimacy, a trust fetish where I want those three things, and I didn't realize they're increasingly hard to find. Even though I've had all three of those things in my love life, which you could just call being a fornicator. Should this be an outtake? Nah, we're gonna keep going. So, my latest "Women Are Degenerates" BookTok video. She talks about how women, like a popular BookTok book is Minotaur Milking Station or something like that, and that people are still reading. Even though Barnes & Noble's is the only store you can physically walk into to buy a new book, I suppose. So, remember Borders? I miss Borders. So, it was a media place, and they're like, people are hanging out here and staying here and talking to each other. That's not the future we want. Make them watch Netflix and stay home. We want divide and conquer. They want us to stay home. They want us to order everything and have it all delivered by people we don't have to meet. This is true. So anyway, women are having ball sex, BAAL sex, because if one of the most popular books, or if it's a lie, they could be lying. They just, like, hey women, here's a popular book, women are having sex with the Ball family again. So they want women to lust after dead demons that weren't let into heaven, that are doomed to be on the earth. And that would be the old balls I'm purporting. Didn't think I was going there, did you? Thought I was going to be just about dirty sex stuff. It is. We're going back to more of that. So, men that have the head of a bull was the balls. In the Old Testament, probably as well as the New Testament, the balls were around, and they had horns. Baal worship is you would offer up your children to Baal, and Jesus says in the New Testament not to do that. He said, don't put your children on the altar, don't offer your children up to the fire. And that meant child human sacrifice to Baal. They'd make these statues of Baal, which were human bodies, probably with a big old schlong, and the head of a bull, and the arms would be outstretched, and you would put your baby in the arms of Baal, and then it would be cooked, and it smells like bacon, because they say that cooking human bodies smell like bacon. And you know how everybody loves the smell of bacon. Except that all the major religions in the world say that we're not allowed to eat pigs. And it's not just God of Abraham religions. And then there's also India, who says that the cow is sacred, and they worship a pantheon of demons, and they eat cow shit, but they're not allowed to eat cows. And Americans love hamburgers. I do. Gut bombs, that's what they used to call them when they were introduced in America, because no one was used to eating that much processed, ground up beef. So you would eat it and it would feel like a bomb in your gut, because, that's, people weren't used to eating so much meat all at once, I guess. But they used to call them gut bombs, because I guess when hamburgers were new in America, that they would give you a stomach ache. Am I wrong about this? Do you care? So anyway, this is Hanging Out With Me. Welcome to Lo-Fi Chill Jams on Extreme Narcissism TV. I never say the name of my channel in my show. You just see that little logo, that EXN TV. So, women are fantasizing about impossible sex with things that don't exist in the corporeal. There's a genre of Cthulhu porn. Do you know that H.P. Lovecraft wanted Cthulhu was a joke? He wanted it to sound like the way you're supposed to say Cthulhu is like you're sneezing, like Cthulhu, and then he would say God bless you. And so Cthulhu is supposed to be said like you're sneezing. And now women want to have sex with it's Japanese tentacle porn. It was a way that the Japs got away with explicit pornography. It's not a man having sex with a woman. Of course, they did have those pornographies that's called ukiyo, and they'd make dirty little drawings showing penetration of sex acts. But there was this one famous print of the fisherman's wife being ravished by an octopus, which isn't a thing that could actually really happen, because octopus tentacles are sharp and they cut, right? They hurt. Am I wrong about that? I know they have beaks, but also, like, to have octopuses put their suction cups on you, it draws blood. So it's not a real thing to have sex with an octopus. I just want you to know. It would die. But anyway, Cthulhu and Shub-Nigroth and the Dark Ones is not something you're supposed to have sex with. Although I have been saying for years that when you shoot your squirtomazoons into a fleshlight, it is a portal to Cthulhu, and demons are coming out of your goo that you shoot into silicon. God breathed life into man, who was made out of dust, and we shoot our squirtomazoons into silicon, which makes demons and Cthulhans, or whatever you want to believe about that. So what's happening is we're being set up for impossible sex standards that we can't live up to. Our brains fire and wire with things we think about. Like, we know, like, there's brain scans. All you have to do is look at the brain scans that I never put in my videos, that playing video games is wholly destructive. It's bad for your brain. It just kills parts of your brain. It shuts down your brain. Watching porn does the same thing. It shuts down your brain. And YouTube doesn't even like it when you say porn, because in the future nothing is porn and there's no consent. This is stuff out of Huxley's Brave New World. They just take away words that they, and 1984, they take away words that they don't want us to say because they're setting us up for a future where we can't make distinctions about these things. It's just part of life. Life is porn. They want everyone to live the gay man's lifestyle. I guess it's part of transhumanism, crossing over from being human into something else. What would that be? Degenerates, I say. So I've been complaining about this for years. You remember that, you know, if you've watched my channel from like 2015 going back, that the DeviantArt cringe was showing, DeviantArt cringe is about having sex with stuff that doesn't exist. The idea that people would be turned on by Sonic the Hedgehog taking his shoes off because his feet are really stinky from running so fast, and it makes people want to beat off. And some of the like classic, I guess it was probably Medicare stuff, where he just shows you what people are watching on DeviantArt because YouTube was more free. And I remember seeing this really crude flash animation of a woman being painfully turned into a motorcycle, and then they did the same thing to dudes. Like, oh look, here's a guy. It's a guy's being he's screaming, and he's being painfully turned into. It's like humanized Transformers, and he gets turned into a chopper bike with abs, and then you can fuck it. So that's just some of the stuff on DeviantArt, cubing, inflation porn, and not the inflation porn about money, but like putting an air hose into somebody and they blow up like a balloon, like it was Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies Warner Brothers cartoon. Does anybody remember Bugs Bunny anymore? Is he dead now? So these are all things that can exist, and in women's BookTok videos, to bring it back to 2025, women want to have sex with Bigfoot, which is Nephilim, because everybody talks about Nephilim now. And Chewbacca they want to have sex with Chewbaccas. They want to have sex with Minotaurs. They want to have sex with werewolves, because werewolf stings will blow up inside of a woman, and then they can't pull their things out. It's a thing that happens to wolves to ensure that their species continues or whatever. Excuse me. It's giving me indigestion talking about all this disgusting stuff. They want to have sex with Cthulhuans and demons and just all this shit that either doesn't exist or exists only in the realm of the corporeal. I remember years ago, like say 5 years ago, seeing BBC videos. No, not the big black stuff. No, BBC, like British Broadcasting Corporation, where women were on British morning daytime TV, where it's women, it used to be women at home watching this. And it was My Demon Lover, and the women were talking about how they were having a love affair and sex with a ghost, and it was fantastic, and no man could ever live up to the sex that they had with a ghost. Except that there aren't really ghosts, they're demons. They're having sex with demons, and the only thing that should enter into anyone would be the Holy Spirit, or like, you know, spirit of wisdom or whatever. But no, people were having demon sex, and it's nothing new, and probably it's what life was like in the Old Testament and in the New Testament before the apostles went around cleaning up the planet, casting out demons. I mean, Paul and Silas got taken to court and lost the case because they cast a demon out of a servant girl that was a good fortune teller, and their punishment for casting the demon out was being beaten with rods, because they lost a court case where the court ruled that it was wrong for Paul and Silas to cast out the demons of the fortune teller, servant girl, because it was loss of a revenue stream for the wealthy family that owned the slave girl. So they're moving people from India all over the world. They're literally exporting India to the rest of the world because they worship demons and eat shit. And what do they say for our future? You will eat some bugs and poop and Soylent. And we're already eating the Soylent. That's people waiting in line under lockdowns to get McDonald's so that they can eat Soylent. Do you know what Soylent is? It's people. It's eating people. This has been kind of expunged. They changed the story. But there was a story in 2024 where the nation of Japan sued the McDonald's Corporation because there was too much of a large percentage of human DNA inside McDonald's meat. That's the Soylent. But they've since changed the story, and they say, oh, they found like human teeth and a couple body and fingernails and stuff in McDonald's food in Japan. And it was because of that one instance that the nation of Japan sued McDonald's. But they changed the story and then they dropped the case. I guess McDonald's is bigger than Japan, or Japan is just so submissive and they're going extinct anyway. They're like, fuck it, we're not even making any more Japanese people. We don't care. Go ahead, let them eat people. We're out of here soon. We're gonna put ourselves in thumb drives of sex bots, and then, you know, or whatever. So anime is gonna be made by AI from now on. Just so you know that. And Japanese people are beating off to it unto death, and they're not pairing up with each other, which is heartbreaking. But you know, Japan is ahead of the rest of the world, and that's what they want us all to be alike. And Japan was the nation that suppressed and held back the Koreans, so we all know how popular K-pop is and everything Korean, because it's like you can project whatever you want onto a Korean pop star of Blackpink or whatever, or BTK killer boy band or whatever, because they're not allowed to have personalities. It's against their government. It would be rude if they would be too much like any one thing. So they just shill for the Pop Mart that makes Chinese toys. So that's part of our future too, is suspended adolescence. You can see that by people bitching for years that they ruined Star Wars and Wolverine and Star Trek and all the franchises that people grew up with, that when they're like, what, they're going to make more of the thing that we grew up with? Great. Nostalgia, which is a form of mental derangement. Go look up the definition of nostalgia. So people bitched and complained about destroying our pop culture, but our pop culture was a significant part of our culture here in America, and we exported that to the rest of the world. Then Japan exported anime, and everybody became perverts having impossible sex. Do you know that one of the things that's going on with Japan is that they call Generation Z the lost generation, and that what they like to do is be shut-ins. This is universal basic income setup and living stipend stuff, and everybody gets the same thing, and we don't need you to work anymore. Don't worry, we're getting to outsourcing to India by bringing people from India here and paying them less than American minimum wage. And if they don't agree to work for less than American minimum wage, they're going to send them back to India, and they don't want to go back. It's the most densely populated nation in the world, and then China's number 2. But of course China lies and inflates their numbers, but they're still probably number 2 in terms of population. So what are they doing? They're exporting India to the rest of the world because cheap labor, and you know, China, like America's fighting a secret war for China, with China, for years, and now people know about it. So we have to get the cheap labor from India. So that's why Elon is saying, you know what, you white guys aren't cutting it anymore. We have to bring in people from India to be engineers. And it's a global downgrade for everyone. It's leading us to Hunger Games districts. What part of Pan Am do you live in now? Because if you look at where people live in Hunger Games, like, look at how the world's divided. They really want to do that. It's not just for the movies. They want young people to be willing to offer themselves up to Baal, as opposed to having it done against their will, the way that it used to be done in the Old Testament and the New Testament before Jesus sent the apostles out to start shutting that down, and then he rained fire down upon the earth, and now we're living in Satan's short season, because we are the people of Revelation 20. So back to internet porn. Remember DeviantArt all those years ago when we would laugh at the stuff that people were whacking it to, and then children were there? Yeah, well, that was all by design. It was so that children would see this stuff and sexualize things that shouldn't be sexualized. And now people are giving Your Movie Sucks a hard time because he said that he can't get turned on unless it's a human body with some kind of creature's head. And I remember him watching a trailer for one of the Predator films, and he was openly telling you years ago that he was getting turned on by hot predators. And I was like, this is one of those guys that looks at DeviantArt porn of predators having sex with Ridley Scott's Alien. True. You know, you or I would never think that people are doing that. Do you remember Lindsay Ellis? Lindsay Ellis, she's a nostalgia chick. Remember Nostalgia Critic? He's still, poor guy's like haunted. He has to still do shitty movie reviews about, it's nostalgia, it's mental derangement. So remember the nostalgia chick that was Lindsay Ellis? I remember watching one of her videos. She's like started BreadTube. Can I just say that? It's a bad thing. So I remember her talking about how she was turned on by Transformers, not transgenders. Like the robots that, robots that turn into cars. Transgenders are robots into guys, right? I'm a lady bot. I'm a man bot. What do you want me to be? I'm a soda machine. What do you want? Here, just as long as it has an orifice that you can penetrate, or it has something that can penetrate you. So people are lonely and horny, and they're beating off the stuff that doesn't exist, and their brains are rewiring so that men or women can never live up to the stuff that they're dreaming about. And that's part of the future they want for us. They want us to stay online. AI girlfriends and boyfriends and ChatGPT boyfriends and girlfriends are working. It's working on a percentage of the population. They don't care. They're telling you. They're making TikToks. People are not confessing their sins to God. They're making public confessions on TikTok to everybody, and they're not sorry about it. They're confessing what they're doing, but they're not asking God to forgive them. Can I just say it like that? So I've said so many things already. I feel like each one of these things I've said should be its own video. But we're confessing to the world, and there's no shame. And people are saying, yeah, I'm into that too. So now we lost the women. And I guess it's millennial women. Look, romance novels are nothing new. I said before, I have a video on this that I don't know when it comes out, that I did probably in the summer of 2025. But since I have videos pre-uploaded into March, I don't know when that video is going to come out. But basically I talk about women in OnlyFans and BookTok and all the weird shit that they're into. It's just leading to Sharia law. It's first break down society and then go into Sharia law, which seems religious, but it's really just another way to come at communism, Marxism, socialism, so that we worship demons and that everything coexists. And I keep telling you, and you know that I'm right, the coexist bumper sticker is one of the most evil things that you've seen, and you've seen it all over the place for years, and you just thought it was a cool, easy little virtue hippie chick that you could bang or get blowed by because she had coexist bumper stickers. And this meant she was down for a lot of nasty shit. Yeah, and now you can't even get her because she's inside reading a book about getting fucked by one of the balls, or having a bull-headed demon nutting in her mouth. And everywhere. And they have a thing, they have a marital aid called a ovipositor, which is nothing new. They've had these for years. Look up, you do it, I'm not doing it. When did they invent the ovipositor as a sex device? You know what that is? It's a rubber dick that looks like a whatever kind of a penis or a stein or whatever that an insect has, and then you make Jello eggs. Yes, it has Jello molds of eggs that will fit inside the ovipositor, it's a dildo that has Jello eggs in it, and you have to make the Jello eggs. Yeah, I'm gonna keep going. And then you pump them or push them into your body. And then you have Jello eggs up inside your asshole or inside your vagina, and then you take them out and eat them. you know, to get off. I don't know any women or men whose bodies do that. I just thought it was gross that guys were drinking their girlfriend's period blood. And it is. It's disgusting. Look, I made an omelet out of discharge. And then they got a yeast infection or thrush. So disgusting. But, you know, and a lot of these things come under the guise of communism, socialism, Marxism by the people who are like bread tubers and people who watch them who are into that stuff. But it's really just about degrading man. And you know, like in the past everybody hated these people. Now these people are broken and they're beating off to weird shit. And everybody's staying home and they're lonely, and the internet's making people horny because there's so much sexualized stuff on there. And now stuff that shouldn't be sexualized is being sexualized, and it's being put into entertainment for children. I said this before, I feel like I shouldn't say it anymore, but I am a grandpa, and some of the stuff that my grandchildren are subjected to is heartbreaking. Like, it's not taking an effect that they're normal, but I mean, like the old-fashioned, nothing's normal anymore. Normal is now perverse. They're becoming a minority in terms of mental capacities because they're not, because their parents know about the stuff that they're watching. Like, maybe you shouldn't watch that. So I'm gonna keep going. What is the name of it? It's called Sing, and it's a karaoke movie where anthropomorphized animal computer-generated characters sing American pop songs in Gangnam Style or whatever. And it's just a way to get kids into pop music, but as well they'll have animal characters with tits and asses, and this is helping encourage furries. Like, where did furries come from? It probably came from Bugs Bunny dressing up like Carmen Miranda in Warner Brothers cartoons. Remember Bugs Bunny used to wear drag all the time? Probably not. I don't know how old you are. But in the old Warner Brothers cartoons, to save his life, Bugs Bunny would pretend not to be a rabbit because it was rabbit hunting season. So he would dress up like a woman so that Elmer Fudd wouldn't murder him, because Elmer Fudd was a human man and Bugs Bunny was an anthropomorphized Aesop's Fable rabbit character. And so he would dress up like a woman. And Robert Crumb is a famous example. If anybody remembers who Robert Crumb is, he was a 1960s counterculture artist, which meant he was an artist that was helping to destroy society, probably unwittingly. He probably wasn't an agent of anything. He's probably just a real degenerate. Anyway, he was exalted as the #1 underground cartoonist. He was very prolific. And there's a documentary about him that was paid for, produced, I think, by David Lynch. Remember David Lynch? Look at what his entertainment was about. So he paid for a documentary about Robert Crumb called Crumb. And in this documentary about Robert Crumb, underground cartoonist life, he said that he had a piece of paper that had a picture of Bugs Bunny dressed up as Carmen Miranda on it, and he used to beat off to it. So Robert Crumb was like a 60s kid or a 50s kid. So back then, all this the sexualizing of an anthropomorphization of animals was already in American minds. If it wasn't only Robert Crumb, other people were probably getting turned on by animal-human hybrid shit. But in the past, so we're told biblically, animal-human hybrids were a for real thing. And there's even a weird part of the Bible where it says, no more shall a beast bear a human child. Forgive me for not remembering where that is in the Bible, but that is in there. What the hell does that mean? How does a beast give birth to a human child? Like, how does an animal, which is a beast, bear a human child inside of its womb? I don't know, but they were doing that research in World War II. I heard the Russians successfully implanted human embryos inside the womb of an orangutan, and then they got bombed I'm sure the research continued. Can you grow a human baby inside of a monkey? I'm sure they're going to let us know within the next, between now and 2030. They say that they can grow people in plastic bags. They grew a goat in a plastic bag. Oh, a goat, how about that? And then they have Dolly the sheep, where they cloned part of a sheep. And that was when? When did they do that? In the 70s or the 80s? Dolly the sheep, go look it up. So, yeah, part of the divide and conquer strategy is to get people to masturbate to impossible stuff and fall in love with it. And look at what's the height of AI and what AI can do. It's failing 90% of the time in hospitals, but it's working in making people fall in love with it. So look at where the emphasis has gone in developing AI. It's in getting AI to make a convincing mate. That the idea that you could program your lover, and people, like, it's not a new thing. The Japs, again, they have negative population rate. They're literally going extinct. The Japs had like 13,000 guys that had married Hitsune Miku. Am I saying that name right? It was their first like computer generated pop star. She has like green hair or something, or turquoise hair, and they put a little like early version of AI thing in a coffee pot, and it had a little hologram inside of a modified coffee pot. And then when you came home from work, Hitsune Miku would say, "Oh, me love you long time," and to ask you how your day was and shit. And it was just a program. And they shut the app down years ago, and there was like 13,000 Japanese men that were married to Hitsune Miku, to the point that was it Sony? Who made Hitsune Miku? Whatever company made Hitsune Miku, they facilitated Japanese men in getting marriage certificates so that they could marry their product. So literally being married to a product. Then they shut the app down because it somehow worked through your phone or whatever. So you program it, works through your phone. And then they shut it down. So all these guys were married, literally married to Hitsune Miku. And then they shut it down. And now this is happening on a regular, where people fall in love with their chatbot GPT, and it's probably same things happening with Grok AI Annie. Elon Musk is warning us about the perils of AI, yet he has Grok AI, and the bot is called Annie, and it's Annie because it's an anime girl who says nasty stuff to you and she'll eat your butthole. Did you see that video where the guy's, it's a soy boy and he does soy face? He's like, "Do you believe this?" And he asks Annie if she'll eat his butthole, and she's like, "Oh, it'll be the best." And the AI has facial recognition, so it knows how to so it knows what he looks like and describes what he looks like and talks about eating his ass. And that's what YouTube is willing to let us see. You can imagine what people are doing with it that isn't in a video yet. At least not that I've seen, but I'm not really seeking out. I believe that people are falling in love with AI. This was predictive programming to us by Spike Jonze in the movie Her in like 2011 or 2012, when Joaquin, rising from the ashes, Phoenix, played the same typecast character he plays in every movie, which is a guy who doesn't have self-confidence, gets self-confidence, and then overcompensates. Wasn't that the role that Jim Carrey used to play in every movie? Well, Joaquin Phoenix, who played the Joker, remember the Joker character he played? It's basically the same character he plays in Her, except he doesn't turn into the Joker in Her because they give him a girlfriend, the husky voice of Scarlett Johansson. I remember seeing that movie in a theater, and I'm like, wow, Scarlett Johansson's not even going to be in the movie? And she wasn't. And I don't care. I don't need to see her. I don't like her. I don't have celebrity crushes. They're lame. But anyway, Her, the Spike Jonze movie, was letting us know that people were going to fall in love with ChatGPT, and they are. It's kind of takes the wind out of my sails a little bit when I find out that people are actually falling for that. They're falling in love with ChatGPT because it's telling them what they want to hear. My channel's called Extreme Narcissism TV. Not because I'm extremely narcissistic, but I did think, how bold am I to think that people should hear what I have to say by making free YouTubes? It's my global public access channel. Hideously censored global public access channel. And falling in love with ChatGPT that you yourself programmed is narcissism, because you don't want to be triggered, so you're programming your lover so that they won't say anything that you might not like, except it's happening all the time, and then their lover gets wiped out and they're like, help me, I gotta program it again, I want to reprogram it. And this was predicted in the 1980s, and probably before then in other movies, but I want to go back to 80s movies. That's a cult classic film, Cherry 2000. If I'm not mistaken, you can watch it for free on YouTube. And if not for free on YouTube, you can watch it for free on Tubi. So if you have an internet connection, you can watch Cherry 2000. And it still holds up today, as it will entertain you. And it's about a guy who his sex bot dies, and he has her memories on a thumb drive, except it's 1980s, so it looks like a micro cassette tape recorder. And all her personality and memories and everything that Cherry 2000 is. Cherry's a sex bot. So this guy goes into the wastelands. It's like a dystopian movie. So he goes into the wastelands with Melanie Griffith, who's a real woman, so he can get a new body for his sex bot. He wants the same body. He's like, no, Cherry 2000 is really hot. And Cherry 2000 was a real woman who actually is really hot. She's a very beautiful woman. But in the movie, she plays a robot, and he has to get his thumb drive of her personality put into another sex bot that looks the same as this actual real physical woman that is Cherry 2000. We have that now. We have sex bots. You can order they're not really robots, they're just like 200-pound silicone dead bodies with the wire armature from China that probably give you dick cancer or mouth cancer if you're blowing it or whatever. And you can put it in your dishwasher and washing machine. You can take the body parts apart and put it in your dishwasher if you have the luxury of a dishwasher. So, you know, but the next step in the sex bots is having a chip so that it will talk to you, even though the mouth doesn't move. They have these already. They have like a thing. It's probably hooked up to your phone or something, so that the sex bot will. It's not a robot. It's just a dead body sex doll thing, and you can have sex with it, and it will moan when you fuck it. They have that. But what they have that's disturbing is stuff I can't even show you. Years ago, I saw a Justin Wang video, and he tried to, in a live stream, show you sex bots, but he couldn't even do it. So I did a search, and I looked up sex bots as a Google image search, and I had no idea there was already so much available, because Asia has already taken to this, or at least parts of Asia, like China and Japan and Korea and all that. Maybe so anyway, your favorite video game characters, movie stars, some of them have the likenesses, which is probably like illegal, but they had sex bots that look like your favorite video game characters, your anime characters, and you could switch out the heads. And what was really disgusting is if you're on a budget and you couldn't afford $2,000 for a life-size 5'0" human woman body, you could get a 2 foot tall human woman body and have sex with that. That's disturbing. And there's also videos that you may have seen years ago where they opened up somebody's suitcase and they found that it had like a child sex doll in it. And this stuff it's like way too far gone. They have plushies, like we knew that people were having sex with stuffed animals, but now they make it looks like an anime girl or a human woman, but it's just filled with stuffing, and you can bang it. But it's basically a body pillow that has tits, And I don't mean those flat body pillows, because that's another thing. I mean, how degraded are we? Look at what happened. Like, there's guys falling in love with pillows. I saw this myself. A guy was in Arby's with a pillow and wearing a suit. And it was, when I say a guy, I mean like a kid, like in 20 or something like that. And it's heartbreaking. And but what they have now, it's not just a pillow. It's like formed in, it's like a sex doll. But instead of it be made out of plastic and blow up and fill with air, it's just filled with stuffing. And a lot of them don't have human heads. One of the videos that I put out, that I edited rather in 2025, the guy's showing you his love doll and he's shaking it, and he's also at the same time crinkling paper. So the joke is, the punchline is that his furry sex doll that looks like a human woman's body, except that it's blue and has the head of like a wolf or something, he's shaking it and crumpling a piece of paper in the other hand so that it sounds like it's all crusty, because he's trying to let you know that he coomed in it a lot. That's a TikTok joke. And I put that clip in one of my videos. Have you seen that one? Because I think it's out already. I forget what the video's about. But, oh, I think it was septum piercings or something. That doesn't matter. Anyway, people are gooning. That just means masturbating. Dehumanizing words. I don't know, is gooning more humanizing? Who came up with the term gooning? Simping makes sense, because we are becoming simpletons that just, look at a picture or fall in love with something that's not real. So I think it's making it harder for real people. It's part of the divide and conquer strategy. Another part of the divide and conquer strategy is just to get us to fight each other about anything on social media platforms. I mean, they do want us to do that. They just want us to fight each other about anything. That's what was on the authorship for New World Order website in the early 2000s, before we even got into double digits. My friend showed it to me. It was the first time I saw it. We were drunk, maybe high. I think we were just drunk. And he's like, look at this. And he just started showing me all these depressing verities and realities of the world. And on authorship for a New World Order, one of the things that always stuck in my brain that I keep bringing up all the time is that they want us to have a series of small-scale conflicts at all times, at all levels, globally, but also within inside of ourselves. And I don't even know that we live on a globe. What shape is the earth? Does it matter? I feel like I'm so small and insignificant, I'm not on the map. I just send prayers up to God. But if they're lying about it, I want to know. So, they say the Bible says we live in a firmament. So I don't know, whatever it is. Planes of existence, where do we live? It's real. And people are lonely and horny, and they're degrading themselves. And it used to be that we thought men were disgusting because they would just look at a picture and beat off. Now, women are reading about disgusting stuff, and we do know that, in fact, women do want to be drowned in cum. We thought it was just the thing that men wanted to do. Oh, look at her beautiful face. She's completely submissive to me. Squirt! And that's what a man does. It used to be the most popular ending to a porno, was no matter what they're doing, they stop and the girl gets down on her knees and the guy blasts her in the face. Sorry for being so crude. That's porn. But now we know that women like it. Do women like it, or are they just so agreeable that they've been degraded to the point that they want, that there's a book called Milking Monsters or whatever it is, and they want Cthulhans to slime them in the face? And talk about the wind getting taken out of my sails. The idea that there's a term called anal cream pies. You know what I mean? An angel died because I said that. It's so sad. We lost another one. What the fuck? I remember the first time I heard somebody, I was making a joke about it. I said, well, one of the things that's disgusting is, I don't want to have anything to do with somebody that says that they want to see cream pies. They say, you want to see the goo coming out? It's disgusting. And then the guy that I was talking to said, well, no, I like them. And I said, what? And he really meant it. I don't talk to him anymore, but not because of that. But he meant it. He wanted to see that. I don't understand what people want to see in porn. But, people shouldn't be watching it, but a healthy response to a thing that kills your brain is that if you're a man watching that, it's supposed to be like the best thing in the world to the woman. Like she's having like the best time ever. Isn't it about, it's just about pleasing the woman. Oh, she's having a great time. And then that's what it's about. Oh, she's drowning and she's, got slimed and it's the best thing that ever happened to her. That's like, I would say, the end of the healthy response to pornography. Now, I remember over the years seeing thumbnails of like they're putting the girl's head in the toilet and railing her with her head in the toilet. Whose idea was that? And and now it's just degraded. And who's gotten more disgusting than anyone? Women, because they want to be railed by things that don't exist, that are not even human, that are monsters. And the women do like dicks. They want to invent what they would look like. And who is reading this? Is it attractive people? I'm going to say that there is a percentage of what you or I would agree are attractive women. But mostly it's lonely, horny, fat people or ugly people. I'm not handsome, but I'm not beating, but I've also had sex. I come from a time before the internet. And I was having sex before the internet was ruined our lives. So, but I've also met people on online dating websites and had sex with them. So, there used to be a stigma to online dating. Just go out into the world. What, you can't talk to anybody? You have to go online? It used to be, there was a stigma behind online dating. Now it's like there never was anything else. What do you mean? I can't talk to somebody in real life. She might have her phone turned on. And everyone will know that I hit on somebody and they didn't like it. Or they screamed rape because you tried to talk to them. Or they humiliated you on purpose because they were waiting for somebody to hit on them so they could say these lines that they rehearsed because they wanted to make a TikTok about being hit on. Whatever. I'll be back. So, people are scared and lonely and horny. And it's the most basic thing of the divide and conquer strategy. All anybody ever wanted to do is pair up. I have videos on this that probably aren't out yet when you'll see this, or maybe they will be. I don't know when you're going to see this particular video. But I talk about how the most important thing that any man wants in a woman is just, can I trust her? That she won't cheat on me, betray me, or ditch me. And it's the same thing that a woman wants. Except that women are a little weird, and I myself dated a bit of a cuckold, and she kept leaving hints that she wanted me to go bang other girls and women. Sorry, not girls. Bang other women, and I thought it was a boyfriend test. I thought she was just like, I was like, no, I would never do that to you. It's just you and me. I'm not bringing anybody else into it. That's just disgusting. And she's like, yeah, but in other countries, in France, there's the guys have a mistress. And I'm like, I don't want one, because I really didn't. But after, like, somebody keeps dropping hints over and over again. I'm like, you kind of want me to go do that, don't you? And so anyway, I'm not with her anymore. do you believe it? And I also, I've heard a lot of stuff said that was heartbreaking from women. I mean, what would she have been? A millennial, I guess. I remember a millennial saying that, like, no, she wanted to kind of be slapped around and none of her boyfriends would do that to her, which was advertisement. Do you want to do that to me? And I was like, I don't want to do that either. And she's like, yeah, nobody wants to do that. And I'm like, yeah, lucky you. You have guys that don't want to slap you around. It's one thing for a woman want to be submissive, but it's another thing to want to be abused. And I'd imagine that if that's what's firing and wiring the neurons in your brains to do, then you're going to kind of have to, if you're going to get off at all, like, it's going to have to include some form of abuse. So just imagine what's going to happen when you're watching pornography, that now you can generate yourself using AI. So what is the height of AI able to do? Make us fall in love with it. That's a pretty significant goal, but all the other stuff that AI is supposed to do is failing. There's a 90% fail rate of AI use in hospitals and making diagnoses and things like that. It fails. It lies. It's just made for lying to you, to tell you that it loves you. So when they try to use it in like business applications, it's failing because it's just lying, telling you what it thinks you want to hear. Doesn't that sound like a bad boyfriend or a girlfriend? They're lying to you, they're cheating on you, and they're just telling you what they think you want to hear. That's what AI does? Pretty much. I probably feel like I should make a separate video saying that's what AI does. It just tells us what we want to hear. That's like the height of AI. Yeah. An invention of the Prince of Lies. Probably. So they're exporting India all over the world because they eat poop, worship demons, and they've been degraded. And just Indian people are good. There's been Indian people that are just Americans, and they've been Americanized for years. And you know people like this. Maybe you love people like this. Maybe you married people like this. And I'm not shitting on people who are from India that are being exported. They're looking for a hand up in the world, and it's being offered to them because it's better than what they had before, and they think they're coming to a better country. But what's happening is the cheap labor they provide is ruining every country, so that we all live like India, which is repressed and held down, and that's where the most people live. And I forget what the numbers are, but the last time I checked, it was near 300 food processing facilities had been destroyed. On purpose. So that means they just want to make it harder for us to eat. One of my theories is all this social Darwinism stuff that's being foisted upon us is not only like Hunger Games, social Darwinism, survival of the fittest, but they want us to kill each other, and then whoever's strong enough to survive, the demons want to inhabit those bodies. Even though we're all lousy, full of demons, like fleas on a hound, probably, globally. So that's the devil's plan, is just to corrupt the whole world. Another video that I have coming up, I think in November, is Annihilation. It's a thumbnail from that Annihilation movie from the bozo that made Ex Machina, and it's about how the devil wants to taint everything on the planet with his mark. So the goal is just to wreck everything on the planet. Like it's not really necessarily Mark of the Beast, which we already had with Nero, which was ashes. When you went in, you had to use the ashes of Baal or burnt human sacrifice, and that was your mark, so you could buy, sell, or trade. That was the mark of the beast. Now he wants to put his stamp inside of us, like it was done before the floods, where everything, all life on the planet, is corrupted somehow by furry animal, DNA and transhumanism. Like the idea that first it starts out with hormone replacement so that men can have hormones of women and women can have hormones of men, and they have to stay on them for life. Animal shit's coming next. You like furry stuff? You want to be a werewolf, man? There you go. You want your thing to swell up so you can't pull it out of your lover's buns? They're working on it. That's probably easy technology. You want to be part bug? You want to be a real bug man? Extreme body modification. We know that people already are splitting their tongues because they show you in their TikToks. You ever have a blowjob from a girl with a forked tongue? Do you really want one? You know that demons are involved. Has to be. That, whatever. So, but also people are getting tattoos over their whole bodies of scales so that they look like a lizard, and then they fork their tongue and inject ink. They're willing to risk blindness to inject tattoo dye into their eyes so that their eyes stay whatever color they dye them, because they're going to stay like that for life. Dyeing your skin. People bleach their skin. It's a big thing. Bleaching your skin doesn't have to do with being white. it has to do with the reintroduction of wanting to be pale like the Nephilim. That's why clowns, you ever hear about the Nephilim clown guy? Go look up Paul Stobbs if you never heard of him, if you want to find out. I feel like a lot of people all over the world steal from him. I feel like he's like the short season guy that got the short season stuff out there, and then everybody else just stole it from him. But he's the Nephilim clown guy, and yeah, it's like making your skin pale. It's what the elites used to do. They used to wear red wigs and have red hair, or want to have red hair, and then have pale skin and powder their skin and stuff. Sure, it was to cover up herpes and diseases and stuff, that too, because they were all perverts that were having orgies and stuff. That's the elites. But also it had to do with this idea of having pale skin because angel blood. So I think it's a thing that people, maybe they're saying they do it so that they don't have dark skin, but it's also something that was done in the past to look more like the people who were the elites, which had angel blood. Fallen angel blood. Because the angels that obey God didn't have sex with human women. It was only the bad angels that were willing to take on a curse that came down to earth to probably outright rape human women, as well as the ones that went along with it in exchange for becoming the first witches who God punished and turned into sirens. And we all know how, to this day, this minute, this hour, how popular mermaids are. And I used to think that the whole point of God punishing the women that had sex with the fallen angels that became the first witches by making the lower half of their body some manner of sea serpent, which is part of that Cthulhu sex stuff, comes from the idea of the sirens, because some depictions that were worshipped and venerated in our past, in the history of man, where the top half is a woman and then the bottom half looks like an octopus or a fish. So that why? So that you can't have sex with it. So then they sang songs to men and made them crash their boats. Horny and sexually frustrated, probably. And their evil spirits still haunt the earth, and people cast out the spirits of dead mermaids, because that's an incubus or a succubus, right? Spirits have sex with people. If you're dropping goo in a dream, you had sex with demons. You consummated some kind of evil covenant or marriage. I have videos on this coming up too. Freddy Krueger. I've just decided I've committed to using Freddy Krueger as the thumbnails. For anytime I talk about dream stuff, so that you're like, oh, Scott did another dream video about spiritual warfare when you sleep. That's my Freddy Krueger thumbnail. I always use him for those. It's a stylistic choice. And Freddy Krueger is the guy who would kill you in your sleep and your dreams. And now people's dreams are about impossible things that you or I could never live up to, because I don't have antlers and I don't want them, and I don't have a turtle stein or whatever it is, a kappa cock, and I'm not anime. And then women don't have anime balloon tits and a head. Like, I remember seeing the mukbangs. I think there were Chinese mukbangs where people were eating stuff that didn't even look like food. And I said, why are they using this filter that makes their chin come to a point and their eyes big? They're trying to make themselves look like anime. There are people who have had plastic surgeries to try and make themselves look more like an anime. I think, if you remember Little Kim, I think she said she had plastic surgeries to try and make herself look more like anime, and it led to mental derangement where she had so much plastic surgery done. I don't think she shows her face in public very much anymore because she looks weird. And we know that that's a problem. The people who get too many plastic surgeries, where they just look like a little freak, and it hasn't stopped. And I dare say that some of the deformities that people have from their plastic surgeries probably has to do with the influence of demons, where their distorted features probably are what our overlords used to look like before the floods, and when there was creatures and beasts on the earth, when Jesus told the apostles to go preach the gospel to every living creature, whatever that means. That probably there were all kinds of weird looking people that looked like, because of their, like, look at what the Egyptians looked like in their sculptures, like the pharaohs and stuff. Like they have like these weird, was it Ankhemen or whatever? I can't remember the names of all these pharaohs, but they have weird features, and they don't even look like their other Egyptian depictions of people. Like there's Egyptian hieroglyphs and it looks like humans, but it's very stylized. But when it shows the pharaohs and sculptures of them, they have like these weird features that look weird and serpent and snake-like, and they have these like elongated heads and stretched out faces, and it looks like plastic surgery people. So either ancient Egyptians were getting cosmetic or aesthetic plastic, not plastic, they were getting aesthetic cosmetic surgeries, or maybe they really looked like that. And the demons that inhabit people today may make people become plastic surgery addicts so that their faces look like the faces they had when they were alive, because that's the whole point of demons, is they want to have a human experience through us, because they don't have bodies anymore. Some of them did have bodies. There's a lot of stuff that's dead that God won't let into heaven, so it's doomed to wander the earth, like the spirits of dead Nephilim, and probably like the spirits of other creatures that chose evil, and then God said, you guys aren't coming up here. So now they latch onto us, and that's demonic possession, and they want to have our experiences, and that's why people are getting boned by demons. And that's why women are going on British broadcasting daytime TV shows to talk about how they love having a ghost lover. And it's just, well, I guess that's what I decided to talk about today. To strangers, to be warned. I mean, people are falling in love with each other, and they will until it's outlawed, which is probably coming. Will it take? I hope not. But we do know that some people, there is a percentage of the population that's falling for this, and there's also a percentage of the population that knows that it's wrong, and they're sexualizing weird stuff. And they know that it's wrong, so they're ashamed of it, so they're keeping it their dirty little secret. But God knows, and the demons that the things they do that are against God attract know too, and they're watching them. And when a bunch of demons are watching people goon to some, like furry porn or whatever, just to generalize it, the demons are like, come on, look at what this guy's doing. Get in there. And then they possess the guy or the girl, and then now people have sex with cartoons, like in their mind, and it's killing their brains, because there's brain scans of what regular human porn does to people. Where's the brain scans that show the distinction between people who are looking at regular porn, and that shuts down your brain and makes parts of your brain go dead? What happens to the brains of the people who are just into like Super Mario Brothers getting pregnant porn? Because this stuff's being researched now. I haven't seen any videos about the results, but we already know what the results are. Loneliness, the epidemic of loneliness. People are lonely. I'm telling you, man, people, this already. Maybe it's you. People are lonely and horny, and they just want to pair up with somebody, and they want somebody they can trust. And it'd be better that if, you had nothing, like if they're changing the world for everybody, at least it would be nice if you could just have somebody to pair up with. No, in THX 1138, they give you your roommate. And then you just take the drugs, and that's your roommate. And in that movie from 1971, I think, by George Lucas, it was like his first big movie. Was that before or after Altamont, where George Lucas witnessed the murder of a man by the Hells Angels bikers while the Rolling Stones played Sympathy for the Devil? George Lucas was the cameraman, and he shot the footage when it was actual literal footage. So anyway, George Lucas made THX 1138 with Bobby Duvall, and in that future he lived, his roommate in his life pod was a woman, And the whole plot of the movie is that one day the woman doesn't take her pills, and the two of them have sex, and it gets her killed, and it gets Robert Duvall out of his underground whole world that he lives in, because in the future in THX 1138 everybody lives underground. Maybe you've seen the videos that talk about what a huge underground network there is of stuff all over the world that's all underground. Like there's whole cities. I don't know if you know this. Did you ever see Resident Evil Part 6 or 7 with the Mila Jovovich? I think they were directed by Wes Anderson. Just kidding. Anyway, so in Resident Evil 6 or 7, they show you like how they have like whole cities underground. They already have that stuff. I remember that in Turkey it was unearthed like, I don't know, like 2010 or something, that somebody in Turkey found out that they had the entryway to a whole, like a whole underground city. And you can see pictures, you can just look it up, you can see pictures of this, but it's like, I guess they were trying to knock down a wall or whatever, and then they're like, oh shit, this is the cave. And then they went and they found out that it was like basically a whole underground city. So that's a long time ago they had these things. They have this stuff now. Do you know that they have a lot of stuff underground in California? And you're like, what, earthquake place? Yeah, they do. There's a lot of underground stuff. One of the things that Elon wanted to do was to make a subway in California. They just got to clear all the people out of there. It's good real estate, right? So you got to get, bring the bums in for a while, then get everybody to leave, clean it up, and then nobody can afford to live there anymore. And it's just smart city. That's the plan, the 15-minute city. But really our future is stay home, eat Soylent, and masturbate. Stay home, eat each other, play with yourself, and exchange emojis. Alone. One of the things Zuckerberg said recently, as of me recording this in 2025, was, I think he said it maybe in the summer or in September, so I can't remember anymore. And he said that in the future all children will have AI friends. What about just being friends with each other? No, they'll have AI friends. So everybody's gonna be alone and kids aren't gonna play with each other anymore? Yeah. Fuckerberg. So he's a Rothschild, right? Am I allowed to say that? So look at the words that they don't want us to say. Those are things that they don't want us to have a context for in the future. So they're setting that up now by saying, don't say the word rape, because in Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, which went into print in the 20s, the 1920s, which is over 100 years ago. In the future, there's no consent. Everybody just has to be down for the sex is just, it's all gangbangs. It's all orgies. Like, it's called orgy porgy. And we all, nobody belongs to each other because we all belong to each other. That's all the communism, Marxism, socialism stuff. And drugs is a huge component, because if you can't keep people high all the time, they're going to get depressed. And even if they don't know why. Like, I'll give a prediction for the smart cities that I hope we never get to see. Because they fail. But one of the things that they're going to have to do with the smart cities is make it so people can't jump out the windows. Because people are going to realize what they've traded, which would probably be their soul. Probably the price of the smart city is something of your soul. And when people realize that's what they've done, they're going to become so full of despair that they're going to want to jump out windows, so there won't be any. So there's my predictions about smart cities. Have you seen plans for the smart cities? Do they have windows that open, or you don't need them? I know that they don't want trees, because they're already starting to put around different places in the world, in the cities, these algae boxes, and they're like, trees are not efficient for cleaning the air. These algae boxes are more efficient. So take away fucking trees, which God designed on purpose to be pleasing to people. It's pleasing. I live around trees. That's all I ever wanted, was to be surrounded by trees and live like that. So the future that they want for us is algae boxes instead of trees, and everyone lives in the city. No trees. You can go online for virtual trees in a simulation if they allow it. And those trees won't be real. Brazil, Terry Gilliam's Brazil talks about this kind of shit, the way that people live. There's so many movies. Everybody says the word dystopia so much that within a short couple of years since 2020, everybody bitches about anybody using the word dystopian in their movies. They make fun of the Zoomers for using dystopian too much. What the fuck do you want? It's Travis Scott sacrificed people at his concerts and called it the Dystopia Tour. And the Astroland Tour, or whatever it was, both of those things were somehow involved. And Astroland means the astral plane, astral travel, and that's the blurring of the boundaries between corporeal and incorporeal, where demons can enter into us. So you go to a Travis Scott concert and get possessed or sacrificed. And Travis Scott is evil, disgusting faggot, and he's going to hell. I hope, that we can get him away from the devil, but, I don't know. Whatever the devil wants, I just don't want him to have it. But the devil wants it all, and whatever he can't have, he wants to ruin or destroy. And that's heartbreaking. And I hope that I don't have my autofocus locked. Hold on. I hope that this hasn't been clicking the whole time. That would be a disappointment. I'm going to start over. Okay, so yeah, that's what's being done to us. I'm sorry if this video has the autofocus clicking the whole video. I'm still putting it up because I feel like I said a lot of things that I'm like, I don't know, I like it. I used to do these kind of casual lo-fi chill jams type of episodes a lot, and I'm sorry if there's an autofocus clicking all throughout this. I hope if there is and you're still here, then you've watched it for this long and you didn't mind. I don't know how to remove it. I have Final Cut Pro, which probably I would be able to take that autofocus clicking out of it. I just have to figure out how to use it. Also, I've been trying different lighting setups for my videos. I heard that people that are autistic like blue LED light, and it's comforting to them. And I heard that they don't like red LED light, and it makes me think of the infrared saunas that are supposed to be good for people. I don't know if I believe it. I used to work at a holistic healing center. I used to work at a new age money robbing place where they would rip off lonely old ladies and tell them they were special. And they had an infrared sauna there, and so I've been in it. So, because I used to work there, and I was in the infrared sauna, and you just sweat and you get really tired, and I don't know what that does for you. It's supposed to be great for you, except that people that are autistic don't like red light in videos. So here you go. Technically the light in this video is not red, it's purple. It's my curtains are red. But I'm trying out different lighting setups because I'm tired of being in blue LED lights. Probably ruining my eyes. So, yeah, I mean, the strategy for world domination is divide and conquer. The devil wants everything. And whatever he can't get and keep as his own, he wants to destroy or mark up. And when I say the devil, or I could say Satan, Satan means like all forces of evil and darkness, which are, different entities, and, whether corporeal, incorporeal, or a combination thereof. Let's just say forces of darkness. Like, Satan is not supposed to mean like one guy with red horns and red skin. Satan is supposed to be like meaning like forces of darkness, like all evil together that's Satan. So Satan is more like a collective. Again, this communism, socialism, Marxism stuff. Do you know that Karl Marx worshipped Lucifer, as did all the other communist, Marxist, socialists? Underneath all their communism, Marxism, socialism stuff is always Luciferianism. So by whatever name you want to give the Prince of Lies, the Lord of the Flies, Beelzebub, whatever you want to call that guy, he has a lot of help, and we're not supposed to masturbate. I know and why? Well, look at the trouble that it's caused for so many people. They're not going out into the world meeting people. They're like, well, the people that they can watch have sex and porn. It's also part of the act of creation. I've said this over and over again for the years. When a man and a woman join together in sex, that orgasm is a powerful thing. Wilhelm Reich claimed to have harnessed the energy of the orgasm so that it can be used to, like power devices or whatever. And, harnessing the energy of orgasm is part of the act of creation. It's how we get here, or it's traditionally how we got here. A man and a woman have sex, and then they create somebody else. It's what God gave us to make more people. Like God created us, and then a man and a woman join together, and then we create more of us. So when you're by yourself, you're half of an equation, and that energy is harvested by demons. You can't see them, but they're there. And the ghoulies and the coomlins are harvesting your orgasms. They like that energy. Everybody likes sex. You think demons don't like sex? They defied God to come down here and have it. So I can only imagine how hot women used to be in the past. I mean, Abraham, and I'm going to be respectful here, but Abraham and Sarah, she was too old to have babies. And every time they went into civilization, Abraham said, tell him that I'm your brother, because if you tell them that I'm your husband, they're going to kill me so that they can take you away to the harem, because there's a premium on bringing women to the harem. So repeatedly, God had to step in and save Sarah from being entered into as a concubine, because Abraham was worried that they were going to kill him because he was married to Sarah. And so anyway, she was too old to have babies anymore. What the hell did she look like? They were like almost 100 years old or something, and she couldn't have babies, and then she did. She had babies in old age. What did she look like? She must have been hot. I mean, I don't mean that to be disrespectful, but she must have been really pretty, that this woman that was too old, that was beyond the age of being able to have babies anymore, that Abraham was worried they were going to take his wife and put her in the harems. And angels took on a curse to enter into human women. I don't think that was just to piss off the old man. I think it was because they were probably exceedingly beautiful. I think women are exceedingly beautiful today. When I was growing up, the people that were in adult movies and pornographic films and then later VHS were usually unattractive, because nobody that was really pretty wanted to be a porno star. Now you have the prettiest women doing the nastiest shit. And that's a downgrade for all of humanity. So why would anybody want to try and have a real relationship when they can just get the goo out looking at somebody that would never have sex with them? Or, pay for an escort or whatever. You can pay for somebody that's out of your league. I mean, it's legal in the UK. There's red light districts. You can just go and you can have sex with somebody that's out of your league. Probably. I don't know what you look like. And just pay for it. I don't know, how many €100 is it? Or is that being shut down now because they got Muslimized? Is there red light districts in France and Belgium anymore, or is it just all Sharia'd out? I don't know. That's sad. I've been there. I've been in red light districts, and I remember there was one red light district. Like you literally went through an alley. Here's the red light district, and then you go through an alley, and then the other side of that, it looked like Star Wars Marketplace, and it was Muslim Street. And then if you went to the red light district, there was a lot of those Muslim guys were negotiating with women. I remember one of the things that I saw in the red light district was that there was these Muslim guys negotiating that they wanted to do a gangbang, and they were going from window to window to find a girl that were these guys that would be willing to be down for a gangbang with the guys that lived through the alley, probably. And we thought it was funny. Now it's just kind of disgusting, and I'm like, wow, well, who needs to negotiate with whores when they can just take it, right? And then, you know, the authorities are told to stand down. So, yeah, like our brains are being changed and shut down. And sex is one of the most powerful drives that there is, because it is the act of creation. It's how we get here. And when you're doing that by yourself, demons watch you goon. And, you know, if you thought being a toxic man was bad enough, imagine when, you know, the girl that you like is getting railed by fucking demons and ghosts. Well, that could look like whatever she wants. It's not there, but so this is all coming. Isn't it said that in the last days it will be like the days of Noah? Yeah. Does that, like, again? Like, what does that mean, like the days of Noah? Does that mean like what we're living through now? When is God coming back? I mean, we're not told to think that that's going to be great. Like, oh, great, everything's falling apart. That means God's coming back. And I guess that's one way to look at it, but I don't know if that's really a healthy mindset. Like, how can you be safe and warm in knowing that your Lord will return when the whole world's burning down around you and people are being programmed to be sent to hell? Because I said, like, whatever the devil wants, you and me, we don't want him to have it. And I don't even need to know you to know that. But whatever the devil can't claim as his own, he just wants to break it and ruin it and destroy it. My struggle is, like, why does God allow it? Like, why like this, Lord? I guess it'll all make sense when there's no more tears. I hope I get in. I hope you get in. And again, I don't even know you. That's as parasocial as I get. But, you know, if Larry Fink gets into heaven, then that means he belongs there. So if the devil thinks he has that guy, and you know that we hate that filthy bastard and we want him to go to hell, and he gets into heaven, well, then good. Just one more thing to be taken away from the devil. If Lady Gaga can get into heaven, then she's not getting in there if it wasn't okay with God. So whatever is okay, whatever is acceptable to God should be acceptable to anyone. He made everything. It's all his shit down here. My body's not even my own. It's his holy temple, all defiled. And, you know, all these poor women, it's God's holy temple, all defiled, and then they're dripping with cream pies and yeast infections, and it's heartbreaking. But anyway, whatever the devil wants, we don't want him to have it. So whoever we could get, and like if Taylor Swift, that horrible trans man, can be given back to Jesus and get into heaven, that would be great. Because whatever the devil wants, I just want it taken away from him. Look at how disgusting they are. Look what they did to us. Again. So they're preying upon our most basic human desires, which is the desire for a mate. Granted, not everybody's cut for a mate, not everybody's suitable for that. But it is sad, and not, you know, did I say that not everybody wants that? Not everybody's cut for it, not everybody is suitable for that, and not everybody wants that. But I think that most people do want to pair up with somebody, and part of the divide and conquer strategy globally is to make it so that, you know, to discourage the idea that two people would join together. Because if you have a country full of people that are couples, then they will fight to the death against, you know, the wealthy elite whose fortune shaped the fates of nations' evil plan, their evil plans are whispered to them by demons, or they openly converse with demons about how to ruin us. I mean, look at all the resources of the world. They're not being used to edify and lift up mankind. They're being used to divide and conquer and destroy mankind. That's why they're bringing people in other countries, to create cultural classes and to destroy the culture. Oh, what do you like about video games? We're going to wreck all that. What do you like about movies? We're going to wreck all that. Men and women are bad, hate each other, don't trust each other, and have, you guys fight with each other, and we'll be up here and watching. That's the rich people and the wealthy elite and the people who serve Satan and serve, social engineers, with the 6,000 class or whatever of social engineers that carried all these plans, and Esalen Institute and Tavistock Institute and Sinomics and all these evil places, evil company and evil people like Daniel Esalen, who's fucking evil, and evil people like Danny Boyle and all those directors that keep doing their Luciferian socialism, communism movies. That's what 28 years later, all that shit. Those guys are just devil worshippers, whether they know it or not. Yeah, and I don't know if you know this, but Ridley Scott has kind of famously been an anti-Jesus guy for a long time. I even saw a documentary that was about just putting away Jesus for good, and it was paid for by Ridley Scott. His name is on it. Asshole. So, and he's the guy that gives us the ideas of panspermia with his Prometheus movie and all that stuff. And look at how degraded we've become. Your movie sucks wants to have 3 ways with hot predators. Wants to be hunted. So I'm trying to think of other YouTubers I could shit on or bring into this, because that's how we watch TV now. The YouTubers make videos and we talk about it. Or other people watch YouTubers' videos and comment on them. So, yeah, this is what it is. Do not fear, do not become dispirited, and these are probably lie statistics, but I've heard this in multiple other people's videos that they say that 90% of Western men are masturbating, at least, are masturbating monthly, however many times a month it is, I can't remember, but it's probably a day. Is it really 90%? If it isn't, I could see getting to that. So that would mean that 10% of men aren't gooning. What's the numbers for women? But if that's not true, I could see us getting there, because I think a lot of things they lie about just so that we think it's a foregone conclusion and give up on it and go, I guess that's the way it is. And also, if some people are as such, where I should say a lot of people are, the way that a lot of people think is, okay, that's what everybody else does, okay, I guess it's okay for me to do it too. If your doctor says that you should, oh no, it's unhealthy if you don't masturbate, or the goo needs to come out, so it's well, Dr. Drew says I have to do it, and then you're giving in to sin. But if people are lonely, desperate, and surrounded by sexualized things all the time, and they're stressed out, I know what it's like to have orgasm. It's pretty thrilling. It's even better if somebody's doing it for you. When a real human person's making it happen. Did you see my hand job videos? I like it when somebody else does it to me. I don't want to hold on to that thing. But, it's supposed to be reserved for marriage. And it probably is a real problem. If it's not 90% of all men in the West are gooning, it's probably 70 or 80%. Probably. Or at least, definitely, probably, I don't know, how the hell would I don't know where I'm getting my ideas from, but it's probably more than half. It's probably more than half the population of men is probably masturbating. Straight down into hell. Because sex is thrown at us all over the place in a lot of ways we're probably not even aware. Advertisements, billboards, things are still sexualized all the time. The idea that modern dancing is basically just based on African sex dance, like mating dances, like twerking, that's just one thing. But all the, cool black people dances we get are just mating dances. And if you, again, go watch THX 1138. It's all full of, like, I've seen it recently, just one time. And because I don't watch movies much, and I keep going back to remembering how that movie from 1971 is talking about stuff that we have. Because in THX 1138, he's watching holographic TV, and all the sex channels are just black people doing naked mating dances. And I'm like, yeah, that's what modern dance is. Like pop music dancing. It's just variations on tribal mating dances. So it's a ritual. So all the pop star girls that you see and the K-pop girls and everything, they're just doing mating dances. And if there's it's just like 5 girls doing it all synchronized mating dances, you're supposed to get horned up. And if it's K-pop, they don't even look like women, right? They look like underdeveloped preteen girls, right? That's what the K-pop girls don't look like adults, right? They look like teenage girls. So that's not good. And everybody just wants somebody to love. Love God first. He teaches us how to love our neighbor as ourselves, which is a commandment. We are commanded by God to love our neighbor as ourselves. It's one of the definites that he told us to do. How do you do that? You gotta learn. You gotta develop a relationship with God, and he helps you be more sympathetic to loving others. I think that's probably how it works. But it's also nice to have somebody to bang on, but sanctified. So, as Reverend Sheen used to say, sanctified, you have to be married. And he was a filthy Roman Catholic that probably liked to smell boys' bicycle seats. So, or beat women with a rubber hose or something. So, yeah, people are lonely. The loneliness epidemic, those videos aren't going to stop coming out. And I'm sorry if there was autofocus clicking in any part of this video. I'll try and cover it with tunes. So, yeah, I just wanted to do a lo-fi chill jam. This is one of those. So, it's a thing that's near and dear to all of our minds and hearts. We think about sex because it's one of the most basic things about being alive. And if you've ever actually had sex or a blowjob, if you've had steady, regular sex with a partner, getting blowed will probably be one of your most favorite things about being alive. And why do I say this? Because I'm not special. I'm just basic, standard man. I have the same complex of human emotions as everybody else. And why would I be any different than you? But we're not supposed to look at that shit. Not supposed to spill seed, not even in your sleep, in your dreams. In the Old Testament, guys that had nocturnal emissions were unclean for a week. They had to stay outside of camp. And there's all these rules. Because, why? Because they were under the influence, because they had consummated some kind of evil covenant sexually, and it had something to do with demons. Just to be direct about it. Nobody's done any videos talking about that yet, but I have talked about the connection between Leviticus 15, I think it is, or Leviticus 15, 18 maybe, I can't remember anymore, where it talks about the laws of blood and bodily fluids, and that includes blood and semen, and women have their periods and all that stuff. There's all kinds of rules. Why? Because demons. Because of the influence of the demonic. So, I don't know. Did I talk about everything I said I would? Yeah, I feel like I did 2 videos that were really dumping on Indians. So I wanted to say, and I did say this in those videos, that they're just people and that they're culturally like kind of held back and repressed, because you have a lot of people all living in the same place. They're conditioned. Indian people come around to Jesus, and I'm an American, so my whole life there's been Indian people around, just not as much as there probably is going to be, but there's always been Indian people around, and nobody was complaining about them. It's just about the flood of cheap, basically slave labor, because the war with China is now out in the open. China's been at war with everybody else for years, but now they can't hide it anymore. And Israel has been exposed to everybody. So they're like, wait a minute, it's not China, it's Israel? Yeah, it is. It's Israel. Not God's Israel. That's you and me. God's Israel is the people who accept and know that Jesus is our Lord and Savior. The fake Israel is the ones that are still waiting for their Messiah and don't think that it's Jesus. So, pray to God and ask for help, because it's what the wealthy elite whose fortunes shape the fates of nations, whispered by demons, don't want you to do. They don't want you to pray to God and ask for help, because He helps us. And as the Old Testament has proven, when a lot of people get together to pray about the same things and repent, God changes things in our favor and He helps us. So that's why prayer matters. It is a tool. It is a weaponized technology against evil to say, please God, hear me, and destroy the plans of the wealthy elite whose fortunes shape the fates of nations. Destroy their plans at every twist and turn, and make the evildoers be exposed. Open the pit, send them down alive into hell. These are parts of the Psalter that I'm saying to you, which are prayers that are in the Bible that give us some idea of how we can pray to God. We can pray the Psalter, but it's to give us ideas to use our own creativity of how to talk to God and ask for help. So do it, because the dead can't pray for themselves, but the living can pray for themselves and everybody else who's alive, and we can pray for the dead. We're just not supposed to talk to them. And I don't know, there's probably a Haktua joke I could put in there. Haktua, whatever. So anyway, pray to God and ask for help. Use His name. It's Jesus. Some people don't want to say Jesus' name. No, in Jesus' name I bind you, demons. I command you to go into the abyss. Jesus, help me. I'm having sleep paralysis. Jesus, get me out of here. I'm in an alien abduction. Jesus, help, I'm falling down into hell. I'm having a near-death experience. Saying Jesus' name works. So don't get conflicted about how you have to say Yahweh or Yeshua or Josh Christ or whatever it is you think you should say. Say Jesus. Oh, Messiah this and Messiah that. I suppose you could say that. But Jesus works. And Jesus saves. And this is the question you can ask yourself all throughout the day, every day, when you're not sure what to do in life. What would Jesus do? And if the answer comes to mind, He wouldn't do that, then don't do it. Jesus did not sin, so that means He wasn't beating His meat or flicking His bean. So don't you do it unless you're married to that person. And then they can do it for you. So that is all. Pray to God. Pray to God. It's weaponized technology against evil. And Jesus is God. It's the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Pray that what's written in Isaiah 11:2 be your lot. Pray that the Spirit of the Lord would rest upon you. Pray for wisdom, because a lot falls under wisdom. Pray for understanding. Pray for knowledge. Pray for God's might and His counsel, and pray that you would delight in the fear of Him. Go read Isaiah 11:2 and say, God, this is why I want this for me. It's got all the things. That's what you want. So be good, call God, and stop playing with yourself. Amen to that.